So Brendan, when you get the opportunity to take this incredibly loved character onto the big screen, is you sort of wary about, I've got to get the balance right here, I've got to make it cinematic but also keep what everyone loves about it?
That's you hit it on the nail. That's exactly what the temptation to put her in a spaceship and, take her to Star Wars, because you've got the wherewithal to do it, is huge. I mean, the things you could do that would be so silly and so funny. So it's trying to just reel yourself in and go, no, look, let's keep her in her own world where she's comfortable, where we know she can survive, and also where we know that she's quite a big egg. And let's keep her in that. So it was, but having said that, it also made my job a little bit easier in that I felt like it was just extending the house, extending foliage. I wasn't making a whole new world. I was just extending the world. So in the TV series where Agnes would talk about, going to the pictures, the movies, to be able to show her doing that. So it's just extending her world and giving them more visual of it. So it just wasn't that bad, but you did have to reel it in a bit because there was sometimes I wanted to go crazy.
What was the idea that you thought, I want to put this in really badly? I mean, what was there one that you reeled yourself in from?
The one they cut it out. They completely cut it out. I had an anti-smoking anti-smoking battle. I was trying to show how the anti-smokers were manipulating the smokers, but at the same time the smokers were manipulating the anti-smokers. And I had a great scene because Kathy is working in an advertising agency as a psychologist, which is what they're all employing now. And she's listening to what's going on, and they're saying, how do we they've stopped, you can't smoke on TV anymore, you can't do a TV ad. But how do we get smoking on TV? And she comes up with the idea, well, why don't we put on an anti-smoking campaign? And they said, well, that's not a very good help. I said, no, the thing about it is this, anybody who smokes, as soon as they see an ad for patches, the first thing they do is pick up the fags and light a fag. Because you just have to show them, you can give up this and take up this, but you get to see them smoking. And once you see somebody smoking, so I wanted to do that whole thing about, and they went, it's not fucking funny. Out. Gone. So it's gone.
Some really popular sitcoms, when I think of like Alan Partridge, Ali G, who have massive success on the small screen, sometimes Inbetweeners, sometimes on the big screen, hasn't worked. Did you look at...
I thought they did.
Inbetweeners did, and I think Alan Partridge did. Ali G, maybe not quite as good.
There was moments in Ali G that did piss you.
There were moments, but did you look at those sort of films and think, and try and pick up tips about what works with taking a character from this?
No, I tend not to do that. I tend to just kind of row my own boat and just, if it works, it works. I'd be really disappointed in myself if I went, you know what, the Inbetweeners really worked, let's do it that way. And then if it didn't work, I'd have to blame the Inbetweeners. I'd rather just do it my way, and if it didn't work, blame me. And if it worked, then celebrate me. And I hate if we did it the way the Inbetweeners do it, and then it worked, and be able to go, oh, well done, Inbetweeners. I prefer to do it on my own terms. So I tended not to look. And it's funny, because people were saying, oh, making a movie, TV doesn't translate that well to movies. But if you let that scare you, you never do anything.
Inbetweeners in this second movie that's coming out, they're going to Australia. You would probably advise against that, because you've kept this grounded in Dublin. How important was it to keep it in her?
For her it was, because I think you're talking about different generations. In the case of the Inbetweeners, in the first Inbetweeners, I think they're in Spain, and the second Inbetweeners are in Australia. But if you look at their generation of what we're talking about, those kids, that's what they would be doing. It's not a question. Agnes just wouldn't be in India, or she wouldn't be in New York. She wouldn't certainly be anywhere in Spain. She wouldn't go anywhere she couldn't pronounce. So I think it was much easier for me to keep her in her own world, because the audience, many of our audience are Agnes Brown, or else Agnes Brown's daughters or sons or whatever, and they know that character and go, you couldn't get it. I'm very lucky. In 58 years that I've lived, I've been virtually around the world. Thank God, thanks to both international soccer, following the international soccer team, Irish international soccer team, and thanks to this work. My dad never left Dublin. The closest he got to it was a trip that he was planning to Lourdes, which happened before he died, so he didn't even get his miracle. So I think she's a different generation. I think the kids today would be going everywhere, but she's not. She's very much, her world is centred right around 92 James Larkin Court. That's the centre of the universe.
And just finally, Brendan, you can't travel with the Irish football team at the moment because they haven't qualified for the World Cup.
Anywhere,
yeah. But what's next for Mrs. Brown? I mean, where are you going to take this now? You've done everything. You've now done the movie. Is there anything left for this character?
Well, she's I always feel that she's at her best when she's challenging authority or she's trying to get out of a corner, because she tends to paint herself into a corner quite a lot. And then the trick is how she gets out of the corner. So I think if it's going to be the next movie, she should be trying to get out of something. And I'm thinking about prison.